out earlier. I actually heard it crack while it was on my face, and it fell out. And now it's like, yeah, I think these glasses are done, cracked. But hey, good morning. This is Homebody. I'm here today. It's Sunday. I just finished taking my walk. I am hot, like I'm sweaty, and it's like burning up. And I always try to get out as early as I can, but I can never beat the sun. I can never beat the sun. But I did want to come in and talk for a little bit. I have some water. I used a cup that I had gotten from one of the juice stores yesterday, so I'm just reusing it. I put some ice and some water in. The ice is all melted, but that's okay. The water is still kind of not cold, but I'll guess like on the colder side of cool. but yeah, I'm gonna just sip on that, and I wanted to talk to you guys about a movie I saw yesterday. I took it way back. So I watched, give me one moment. I'm going to pull up on Wikipedia because, you know, I will forget our characters, and I don't want to forget our characters. Because this is the thing. I want to say our characters are actually the actors' names, right? But I want to give our characters too. So give me one moment. I'm sweating. I can feel myself sweating. And I don't really remember sweating that much like in the past. Like I was never a sweater. But the heat in the South is just different. I'm not saying it doesn't get hot up north, because it does. But the heat in the South is just different. And maybe because I'm outdoors more. I really didn't go outdoors as much in the city. But here, like, there's so much. I shouldn't say there's so much to do. It's not. But there's, like, the park isn't far. Like, you want to be outside. You know, that's how I feel. I want to be outside. So, but anyway, give me one moment. And I definitely want to make an effort to kind of be outside and soak up the vitamin D while it's here, while it's in abundance. Because we know, like in the winter months when it gets a little bit colder, you know, things just are different. So, okay, so this movie is called A Piece of the Action. Okay, it stars Sidney Poitier, Bill Cosby, and also James Earl Jones is in this movie, and it came out in 1977. It's a pretty good movie. They listed it as a comedy. It was, but it was I would say a comedic. It was called a crime comedy on Wikipedia, but it was also a little bit dramatic, right? But it was good. It was good. It was more funny than I guess than anything else. I guess it would be a comedy, but the movie stars Dave, who is Bill Cosby's character, Manny, who is Sidney Poitier's character, and Joshua Burke, who is James Earl Jones' character, okay? And what happens is that there is a series of crimes. So there is a series of people like breaking into safes, who is Bill Cosby's character, and then Sidney Poitier's character, he is someone who orchestrates stealing from criminals, okay? And so these crimes remain unsolved for a period of time, and James Earl Jones' character is a policeman. He's basically a detective, right? And he retires, and he kind of looks at the picture of his wife, and he like goes to her gravesite, and he actually, you know, gives these letters out to Bill Cosby's character and Sidney Poitier's character, and they don't know each other, and they don't know who wrote them the letters, but basically the letters basically say that it alludes to this person knowing who they are, and they meet in this hotel, and they both meet at the same time. They get a phone call, and it's James Earl Jones, who they don't know who this person is, and he basically tells them to meet at a restaurant. They go to the restaurant, and they meet a young lady there. Not a young lady. They meet a woman who is Denise Nicholas, and I know her from like In the Heat of the Night. Like she was like she was the captain's girlfriend basically in The Heat of the Night. and her character is Lila. So she's all excited, and they're like, she's not the person who we talked to on the phone. They know this person has a deep voice and is probably a man, right? So they meet her, and she's all excited at the restaurant. She was like, oh my goodness, I can't believe it. You're going to volunteer at this youth center, and we need a lot of help. And we have this group of kids who are looking for jobs, and they need a lot of help. And they're like, what? So basically, they get blackmailed into doing it because this person knows who they are. And basically, it's like, look, if you don't do it, you're going to get locked up. Okay? Because I know that y'all are criminals, right? So they go to this youth center, and these kids are disrespectful. They are disrespectful. And the teacher is she's doing her best, but she can't motivate the kids. She's trying to get them skills so they can get a job. So she's trying to help them interview and know how to act in order to get an interview and get a job and that kind of stuff. And they're not motivated to do it. And it was one scene where they made the teacher cry. Like, it was this one character, and she's an actress today. I love her as an actress. Her name is Cheryl Lee Ralph. She's one of the teenagers that made the teacher cry. She gave this whole speech about, so basically what happened was they was trying to do the interview. She was trying to have them do interview skills, and she basically said something like, y'all have a short attention span. And Cheryl Lee Ralph's character, who is Barbara, she told that teacher off. And what's so funny is this. She told her off. They're supposed to be like ghetto kids, right? But she told her off in such a sophisticated way that the kids of today could never. It would go over so many people's heads what she was saying. But she was basically saying that, y'all poverty pimps, y'all just here for the money. Y'all go back to y'all middle class lifestyles and come to the ghetto trying to tell us, how to act or whatever. And the teacher was in tears, and teacher was like, I went to school and it was hard. And she was all like, she went like this to her butt and was like, my ASS, my butts bleeds for you. I was like, oh shoot. Teacher ran out the classroom in tears or whatever. The teacher was really good actress too. I don't see her. I don't know what happened to her. The teacher's name, darn it, I wish I could remember. Give me one moment. Let me see if I can remember. Dang it. I don't know because she's not someone that I grew up seeing, and I don't remember her character's name, but she was a really good actress. But anyway, what Sidney Poitier's character and what Bill Cosby's character decides to do is go ahead. Of course, they're going to volunteer. They decide to split up. So Sidney Poitier is going to do the classroom. He's going to volunteer in the classroom with the teacher. And Bill Cosby's character is going to try and get more information from Denise Nichols' character, who is Lila, and try and figure out who is blackmailing them. Because they figure whoever this person is has some kind of connection to this youth center. Like, that's the only way they will want us to volunteer here, out of all places. So, what happens is that while they're trying to figure out everything, of course, Bill Cosby's character, he starts to fall for Denise Nicholas's character. And Sidney Poitier's character, he has a girlfriend, and the girlfriend lives with him, and her parents come to visit, and the aunt comes to visit. The aunt is a drunk. She just wants a drink. But they basically are wanting the couple to get married because they're basically living in sin, right? And this is the one thing that wasn't answered in the movie. So Sidney Poitier's girlfriend has a birthday coming up, and she found the gift in a box. She didn't open it though, and he says, no, your birthday is not until another 72 hours, right? I think it was an engagement ring, but I don't think in the movie, I don't remember her ever opening the gift. So, it makes sense though with the parents saying that they want them to get married, they're living in sin and everything, but the gift was never opened. Maybe there was a part at the very end that I missed, but I didn't see the gift open. But anyway, what happens is that Bill Cosby's character falls for Denise Nicholas's character, and Sidney Poitier's crimes catch up to him. So in the very beginning of the movie, he orchestrates this criminal, this drug dealer, getting robbed. And what happens is that the drug dealer looks out the window and he sees a raid. He sees all these cops and somebody directing them to this side of the house, this side of the house. And the housekeeper is on her way out the door. And the man didn't know what to do. They get rid of the books. They do something with the books, the money. The housekeeper's on her way out. And he basically tells the housekeeper to take the money, right? And they sit at the table, start playing cards. They're waiting for the raid to happen. And of course he gets a phone call saying that there's going to be a raid or whatever. But nothing happens. And they're waiting. And he goes outside, look out the window, and there's no one outside. And come to find out, it was a ruse, right? They got the money stolen. The housekeeper was in on it. They divvy up the money, and they all go to separate ways. But someone is still working, even though James Earl Jones' character is retired, someone else is still kind of working the case. And basically, Sidney Poitier, his crimes catch up to him. So they figure out who he is. They find the housekeeper. The housekeeper had left town. She went to I forget which country she goes to, but she goes to a different country altogether. And so they find her, and I guess they find her because she's still been in contact with her grandson, who she really loved or whatever. So she actually kind of gives up Sidney Poitier or whatever. She didn't want to, but she had to because she wanted to save her grandson. So they kidnap Sidney Poitier's girlfriend. And they find out who James Earl Jones is, and James Earl Jones is like, look, you got to help us, man. And he doesn't really want to help, but he helps them, whatever. They steal some evidence against. They find out that one of the bad guys' moles is in the police station. That's exactly probably how James Earl Jones got the information, and he kind of gives up some secrets on this drug dealer. Sidney Poitier has some of the money to repay the drug dealer because he wants his girlfriend back. And he goes in to meet with the drug dealer. They exchange the girlfriend. They take Sidney Poitier to the drug dealer, and he's like, look, we should be even. I got 2/3 of the money. So the guy was like, 2/3 of the money, but he opens up the suitcase, and he sees that Sidney Poitier has a lot of dirt on him. So it was almost like, and Sidney Poitier's like, those are copies. I got the other copies. If something happened to me, you're done. So the drug dealer lets him go, And so I should kind of go back a little bit. Sidney Poitier has made a lot of gains with the kids. Like, he takes them out into the... Number one, this is what he does to get them on board. He gives them money. And he says, your job, you're going to be working for me. And you're going to be learning the job skills. Okay, so they're all happy about the money. They was like, how we know you're going to give us the money? He said, I'm going to give you half now, half later. He tears the $100 bill in half, gives them the one half, and he says, at the very end, when you're all done the program, you're going to get the other half. So they get incentivized to do the program. He takes them out into the fields. He takes them out into the community and shows them how to have proper etiquette, common courtesy, how to ask for things, how to say please and thank you, that kind of stuff. And they kind of get they're invested in completing the program. Number one, for the money, and number two, because they want a job. And the teacher was telling Sidney Poitier, like, they, these kids they're like, they were if they would have had this certain knowledge when they were younger, from their families, from their schools, we wouldn't be here. So we're kind of like behind the 8 ball. But they're basically faced with rejection. Like, they're doing things because they're fearful that they're going to be turned down anyway. So she kind of knew the psychology behind why they were doing what they were doing, but she didn't know exactly how to help them properly, so to get them on board with their future, with recognizing that this is what they need for their future. So Sidney Poitier, his plan worked perfectly. Like, they were kind of all on board and stuff. And so at the very end, of course, all ends well. Sidney, James Earl Jones, he gets on board, with helping them, of course, get Sidney Poitier's girlfriend back. And of course, we find out the reason why he's invested in this program was that his wife, before she died, she was like in charge there when she died. And he definitely wanted to see that program get the help that they needed, right? So that was his motive for doing that. And then at the very end, the kids graduate from their job program. And one of the kids, while they were doing like the interviewing, like the mock interviewing, he had disclosed that, you know, he needed a job. His dad wasn't around. His mom couldn't work because his brother was slow. Like he was like had developmental disability, and he had to be babysat. Like he couldn't be alone because he was not functioning on a, you know, age level to be alone. And so he had to work, and so that was his motive. You know, a lot of kids probably had a similar story in their backgrounds, you know, about needing to work. But it was a really good, you know, movie. Of course, at the end, the kids graduated. The teacher got an award for her hard work from the kids. They had money to spend, you know, but it wasn't anything that was probably expensive, but they, you know, they felt like they got value out of the program. Denise Nichols' character got an award too from the kids. Sidney Poitier's girlfriend was there with him when they had the graduation at the end. James Earl Jones' character was there at the end. You know, it was a very cute story. I would definitely recommend it. And I watched it, and the reason why, my mom had said something the other day about To Serve with Love. To Serve with Love was a movie way before my time, about Sidney Poitier being a teacher in this like urban school with the kids being disrespectful and him trying to figure out how to get them on board with their education. And it gave me all the feels. And when she mentioned it, she said there was a second part, and I was looking it up, and I didn't see a second part, but this movie popped up, and so I was like, I'm gonna watch it, you know. And so I watched it yesterday, and it did give me the feels. It did give me a flashback from To Serve with Love, because he was back in the classroom with kids who needed some help, right? But it was good. And it also, it's just something about that time. Like, I miss the 70s. I miss the 80s. Like, it's nothing like today. It's just so different, and it just gives me all the feels. It just makes me think about growing up and how simple, it wasn't simple, right? It was still hard for a lot of people, but it just seems so simple compared to now, right? So I would definitely recommend watching it. It is free, very, very free, of course, with the ads on YouTube. So go watch A Piece of the Action, 1977. There is a couple of cringy things I noticed, right? I can't just watch a movie and just watch it, right? For entertainment value. It was a cute movie, it was a good movie, but it was a couple cringy things with Bill Cosby's character. So there was a scene at the nightclub. He had took Denise Nicholson out, and a woman, she was the vice principal in Lean on Me. I did not know she's been acting that long, but she's in the movie, and she tells Bill Cosby's character, you haven't danced with me all night. And she's basically like, you don't dance with me, I'm going to scream rape, you know. And it was just like cringy knowing that Bill Cosby has in real life gotten that charge. Okay, he's gotten that stamp of like a predator, right? So that was a little bit cringy. And then with Denise Nicholson's character, she didn't want to date him, and he was kind of like being persistent. And it was one scene when they went out for a date, and she basically, when she got into her apartment, she closed the door and said good night. And Bill Cosby just stands there like he ain't trying to leave, and she lets him in. So it was a little bit cringy. Things like that I noticed. I'm just like, oh, that's so cringy. That is so cringy, right? I wonder how much of the stuff he thought he was acting, but he really thought was okay, right? When someone closes the door in your face, it's time to move along, right? But it was just a little cringy. So notice, like, watch it. Tell me what y'all think, and I'll be back with another movie review. Take care. Bye.